call this meeting to order. By roll call, show that all council members are present except Vice Mayor Kokovis, who has been excused. We welcome those in attendance tonight and those watching on Shello TV or an electronic device. Tonight, I will give the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Natalie Ben. Those of you who would like to join, please stand. Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for this beautiful day and for the opportunity we have to come together tonight at the City Council meeting. We're so thankful for all of our countless blessings and for all that. Please help us all to stay safe the rest of the night and to have a good meeting. We love thee and we say these things in the name of the beloved Jesus Christ. Amen. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Our next item is called to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that is not scheduled on the agenda may do so at this time. The City Council cannot discuss or act on any items presented during call to the public. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Doug.
Okay, so I call to the stand Doug Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and future Mayor and Council. It's nice to meet you all. I'm here on behalf of the Run to the Pines Car Show, which will be held this weekend. And we start off with a kickoff cavalcade on Friday afternoon, 3 days from now. It'll start at the church on the corner, and we will leave the parking lot at 4:15. We'll have between 300 and 400 cars that will travel in a cavalcade all the way down to the Honda Casino. And people typically line up along the sides, similar to what we do with the 4th of July. So we encourage everybody to, if they have a classic car or a special interest car, that they can come and join in the cavalcade. They just need to show up before 4 o'clock and they can be in the cavalcade down to the casino. The cars in the cavalcade are not limited by year. The car show itself is limited to 72 and older, but the cavalcade is open to all years from a 1901 to 2023, so everything in between. So we would encourage everybody to watch the cavalcade. We appreciate the support of the city on this cavalcade. We always get excellent cooperation and support from the Public Works Department and the Police Department, and they help control the traffic as we come out of the church, keep us from having any mishaps all the way down, and we appreciate all the support that they give us on this. We also invite everybody to come to the actual car show on Saturday morning over at the Pinetop Lakes Country Club in Pinetop, and that will run from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And there will be 580 cars there on the driving range, and they will all be 72 and older. So we invite everybody to come and participate. So are there any questions?
Don't think so, nope.
Okay, we hope to see you all. You can come mill in the parking lot before the cars leave the parking lot. The cars will start showing up at 2 o'clock. So from 2 to 4, you can be in the parking lot and look at all the cars, or you can just line up along the side with your chairs and your canopies and whatever. And we hope to see you there. Thanks.
Thank you.
I had 47 seconds left.
Seeing no one else move forward, we close call to the public and move to special events. Next, we have a presentation by 4 students, Lenore Bernier, Harmony Fifield, Kirsten Goodman, and I, who attended the League of Arizona Cities and Towns annual conference.
We had the honor to go to the League of Cities and Towns 2023 event. We got to network with the Parade of Flags, organizing mental health support in Chandler, effective advocacy, telling your story, and behind the scenes of exploring careers in local government. And we'd just like to tell you guys a little bit more about it. Maybe.
So we were able to network with a separate section as well as participate in the Parade of Flags, where we were able to take our city's flag and join a little parade so that other cities and towns in Arizona knew who was present. Normally they have like the youth delegates do that. And from networking, we learned a lot about like how other schools execute specific plans. We learned that they have like specific like itineraries of how they want to use their own resources and execute their goals. It was interesting getting other perspectives from schools and towns, like so that we knew what resources we had versus what they had, so we knew how to better use ours. We also understood the importance of how like youth and student council involvement in communities is vital to the functioning of a community, because we're able to get a different perspective from a different group of people.
So one of the speakers at this conference was Rihanna Alexander, and she struggled with mental illness, and she saw the effects of untreated mental illness firsthand. Within 1 year, 3 students from her school district committed suicide, and the system had failed her as well as her peers, so they identified what needed to change, and they fought for it regardless of how powerless they felt at first. So it took them a while, but they learned like how to reach out to people who have more power, I guess, and now mental health is a priority in their school district. They changed their absence policy to where the school counselors would check on absent students, make sure they're okay, rather than like immediately punishing them, and I thought that was really cool. We also learned how we can effectively identify what changes need to be made and how to make those changes possible.
So our speakers for the effective advocacy section were Sammy Miracle and Rihanna Alexander. And as Lindsay discussed, she struggled with mental health and was able to come up with a program to help that, and Sammy actually helped her like execute that. And during this section, we were able to create a layout of how we would solve an issue in our own community by understanding the issues and like using the resources available to us. One thing that we discussed fixing was creating a more positive environment in our school so that we have like more decorated hallways or like better advertising for events and stuff, just so that students feel more comfortable and feel like it's a better place to be in general. We also discussed action equals reaction. If you don't do anything, nothing will change. And then if you do something, you'll get a reaction, which is normally positive.
So the section I had was telling your story. It was given by Wade Colwell, and he talked about how we can all inspire each other in different ways, and we all have something different to bring to the community. And he also talked about how monsoon is like making change, and the stages were in the drought. It's like finding what needs attention, and then you'll have your clouds that come in. It's your sign of hope, and then you have the lightning, which is like your energy and your ideas that you come up with. And then you'll have your rain, which is the action that you take to make that happen. And then you have the rainbow that's at the end. You like see how it affected everyone, how important it was that you did that. And then you have your reflection. You look back and you see what you could have done to make it better and make it better the next time you do something. And then you also have the refraction, and you need to bend your perspective and see how somebody else sees it. And it's not just your perspective, it's everyone's, and see the difference it can make in everyone's lives.
I had behind the scenes and exploring careers in local government. This portion of the conference, they just had a panel up there and they were answering all sorts of questions. There were a lot of girls asking questions more than the boys, so the focus was more feminine, I guess. And the girls were just asking like how we can get more involved, and just by going to things like this, just council meetings and getting more involved and volunteering and stuff is what they said would be best, and that there's a lot of need for a town student government, like a town student council, and that has helped a lot of girls and children get involved in town stuff.
That's it. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, actually?
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you guys for coming. It was a blast. It was great seeing you interact with all the kids. The only thing problem I had is our flag bearer was the shortest person there. And if you could see how little she is, and imagine all the schools that were holding up the flags, the only reason I found the flag is because it sticks up. She was holding it, this flag, but she was lost. Literally could not see her anywhere. But thank you guys.
Putting it up like this.
You guys did a great job. It was nice to have lunch with you with all the kids. They seem shy, but until you get them around other kids, they're definitely not shy. I hope you had a great time, because it was nice to see you there for sure. And thank you, Chaperone, for taking. I thought she was one of the students. I'm sorry. But anyway, you guys did great. I appreciate you going.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, so our next item is the consent calendar. Does any council member wish to pull an item for discussion? On the consent calendar, we have consideration of a proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, reappointment of board member to Show Low Municipal Property Corporation, purchase of water stock parts, acceptance of 2023 slurry seal project, and city council minutes for September 5th regular meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
For Councilman Clark, I move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Is there a second?
I'm seconding the motion for Councilman Judd.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We will now have the city clerk, Ms. Hall, read the proclamation aloud.
Thank you. Whereas domestic violence is a pervasive problem that affects women, men, and children of every age, race, gender, background, and belief, with 42.6% of women and 33.4% of men in Arizona experiencing intimate partner physical violence in their lifetimes, and whereas one or more children witness domestic violence every 44 minutes in Arizona, and whereas every minute 20 people are victims of physical violence by an intimate partner in the United States. And whereas the United States Congress has designated October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month every year since 1989. And whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month reaffirms our dedication to forge a community where no one suffers the hurt and hardship that domestic violence causes. And we recommit to doing everything in our power to uphold the basic human right to be free from violence and abuse. And whereas in honor of Arizona's 7th annual Lighting Arizona Purple campaign, Show Low's downtown streetlights will be lit purple throughout the month of October to raise awareness about domestic violence. And whereas we must remain united in our commitment to safeguard and open the doors of opportunity for every member of our community and support local efforts to assist victims of these crimes in finding the help and healing they need. Now, therefore, John Leach Jr., Mayor, on behalf of the Show Low City Council, does proclaim the month of October 2023 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the city of Show Low, and does hereby urges all citizens to pledge their unwavering support to those in need and recognize the advocates, victim service providers, and organizations who work tirelessly to extend hope and healing to survivors and victims every day.
Thank you. The first item under new business is consideration of approval of amended final plat for Silver City at Buffalo Bills. Ms. Fechtelkotter.
Thank you, Mayor and council members.
At its regular meeting on June 7th, 2022, the City Council approved the final plat for Silver City at Buffalo Bills. This development consisted of a chapel, barn, eight two-story residential units with 3 bedrooms each, a 2 baths, a 2-car garage underneath. The proposed development is C2, which is general commercial. The gross area of the amended final plat is the same size as the original final plat at approximately 1.24 acres. With a minimum lot size of 1,600 square feet, maximum lot size of 44,431 square feet, and an average lot size of 4,713 square feet, with an overall density of 5.6 unit per acre. The previous final plat had an overall density of 6.41 units per acre. Tracts A1 through A5 consist of approximately 20,000 square feet of common area, ingress, egress, open space, and private drainage. The developer has indicated that the units will be sold individually and owned individually. Parking areas and driveways will be owned and maintained by the Properties Owners Association. Gary Martinson has submitted an amended final plat which will reduce the number of residential units from 8 to 4 and add 3 additional commercial lots. The chapel and barn have been removed and will be replaced with a brewery, event center, and a small hotel. At their meeting of September 12th, 2023, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved CUP 60204-263 to allow for a microbrewery and an event center serving alcohol. All other portions of the development remain unchanged. Staff has reviewed the final plat and improvement plans and found that all city code requirements have been met. Staff, as well as the applicant, is available for questions.
I believe the mayor has a question.
Well, I got a comment. Thank you. Appreciate that. You know, I've known Gary for many, many years, and it's amazing because when he has a vision, he does this vision. And I was in there Friday, and there was a huge group in there, and I just walked up, kind of introduced myself, and said, "Hey, what brought you here?" And Gary's vision was make it a destination, and I thank you for that because they stopped there because of that. They were driving up to town to meet some family up in Lakeside, and they had to have the family meet them there. So I thought it was really cool that they drove into Show Low and seen this building sitting there and decided to stop and have dinner there. So Gary, thank you. And your vision, it amazes me how you do that. And that's why this is changing, because his vision 2 years ago is different from today. So I appreciate that, Gary, and I can't wait to see this done, but thank you again.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Fechtelkotter. Do we have a motion?
For Councilman Alsop, I move to approve the amended final plat for Silver City at Buffalo Bills and authorize the mayor to sign the associated documents.
Do we have a second?
I am seconding the motion for Councilman Adams.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0.
Barely. Barely.
Speak to this council. That is what's upsetting tonight.
Go ahead.
How special would that have been?
Sure, the mayor won't mind if you would like to make a comment.
Yeah, come on up. Yeah, we're more than happy to hear from you.
We'll have to start the clock on him for sure.
The next item under new business is consideration of award of construction contract for Show Low Lake Campground Power Improvements, City of Show Low, project number FM 5923. Mr. Hemesath.
Good evening, council, mayor, and students. The city's fiscal year 2024 capital improvement plan budget includes $70,000 for electrical improvement project labeled Power at Show Low Lake Campground. Currently, the entire campground and clubhouse building all share a single 200 amp electrical service that has reached capacity. The scope of the work for the project includes constructing approximately 600 linear feet of new 4-inch and 6-inch electrical conduit along Show Low Lake Road to serve as a new main backbone for future power expansion in the area. The work also includes installing a new 600 amp transformer near Show Low Lake Clubhouse. The clubhouse will receive its own 200 amp service, and the remainder of the park will stay on the existing power service for this phase. The conduit installed will include 3 pole boxes to allow for future power extension into the campground camping spots as future funding allows. City engineering staff designed the project with a construction estimate of $70,000. The project was publicly bid in accordance with statutory requirements with the following results. Apache Underground Excavating with a bid of $87,350, and HT4 with a bid of $154,714.00. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Shoal Lake Campground Power Improvement City of Shoal Project FM 5923-A to the Apache Underground Excavating in that amount not to exceed that $87,350 and authorize associated budget transfers. The bid tab is attached. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hemesath. Are there any questions for the staff? All right, do we have a motion?
For Councilman Adams, I move to award the construction contract for the Shoal Lake Campground Power Improvement, City of Shoal for F to Apache Underground and Excavate in an amount not to exceed $87,350 and authorize associated budget transfer.
Do we have a second?
I am seconding the motion for Councilman Hatch.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. The next item under new business is consideration of award of construction contract for East Cooley Roadway Improvements, City of Shoal project number R3323. Mr. Hemesath.
City's fiscal year 2024 capital improvement budget also includes $150,000 for a roadway improvement project labeled Widening Road by Chase Bank. The work includes removing the parking islands along East Cooley between North 11th Street, State Route 260, right across from Chase Bank. These improvements will allow for proper roadway width for the two-way traffic along this corridor. ADA sidewalk ramps will also be installed. The streetlights and the trees in the area will remain in place. City engineering staff designed the project with a construction estimate of $185,000. The project was bid on June 9th. We received no bids. The project was rebid on July 14th, and the bids had to be rejected due to errors and omissions. The project was rebid again, and the city received the following bid results. Western Grade LLC at $196,352.20. Navapache Construction at $22,976.04. HD4 at $264,575, and service contracting at $362,905. Funding from the streets general improvement line item in the budget will be used to fully fund the project. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the East Cooley Roadway Improvements, City of Shoal Project R3323-C to Western Grid LLC, in that amount not to exceed that $196,352.20 and authorize the associated budget transfers. The bid tabs attached. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hemesath. Are there any questions for staff?
Yes. Shane, I got a question. When we're pulling out the curbs and the sidewalks and stuff that we have there, was that stuff put in on a grant before that we're pulling out, or we put that into, because I was reading that you're pulling that out to widen the road to make it wide enough for the vehicles to come through?
I don't know if it was funded with grant funding. I do know there was one of the really preliminary phases of downtown redevelopment off some earlier conceptual designs and layouts that would kind of create more of a one-way pattern downtown. That was the only street that really was structured with that one-way traffic. The rest of them downtown have been kept to that two-way traffic. I think over the years it's been determined that the two-way traffic downtown is more ideal, and so we wanted to get rid of that one-way traffic roadway that did get built, I believe, in the late 90s.
Then it will be automatically changed to a two-way traffic.
Two-way street. Yep, it'll be.
It's more of a two-way traffic right now before it's even done. So, but I'm glad we're doing it correctly.
This will help.
Thank you.
Real quick, so the trees that are there, are those going to stay? Because I know it's going to be right on the edge of the sidewalk, correct?
They're close. The city crews are going to be tasked with doing some trimming to those trees to make sure traffic can get underneath those. They will remain in place. The tree grates go right to the back of curb. The grates do, but the trees will set a few feet back, so they'll be off and away from the roadways as needed, but they will remain in place. Yeah.
And the other question is, when it gets to 260, does it go all the way to 260?
It does. Yep.
The pole that's there, those blue poles, can that accidentally get run over by a piece of equipment?
I think those are going to be removed, and you're talking about the bollards? believe, yeah.
The ones down there. There's one on the other side of the street too.
Yeah, I believe, especially on that south side, we're redoing that whole curb return. That's all getting pulled back. Yep.
Thank you. It looked like it. I just.
Any further questions? All right, do we have a motion?
For Councilman Judd, I move to award the construction contract for the East Cooley roadway improvements, City of Show Low project number R3323, to Western Grade LLC, an amount not to exceed $196,352.20, and authorize associated budget transfers.
Do we have a second?
I'm seconding the motion for Councilman Clark.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. The next item under new business is consideration of award of construction contract for Show Low Bluff Well number 17 Waterline, City of Show Low project number R2723. Mr. Hemesath.
One more, bear with me, guys, all right? At its regular meeting on November 1st, 2022, the City of Show Low Council adopted ordinance number 2022-3, approved the agreement for exchange of real property with SRH Holdings LLC. The city exchanged two parcels located in the Show Low Bluff subdivision that the city had acquired during the public auction when the previous owners did not pay their assessments for the two parcels owned by SRH Holdings LLC. The two parcels are located in Show Low Bluff. One was located near well 13, and one contained a test well that was used for future utility use. They actually used that test well to do the test well to test the water up there before they drilled the final well. After an evaluation of the test pumping of the well, it was determined the test would serve as an additional water production source for the Show Low Bluff subdivision. This well was later named Well 17. City's 2024 capital improvement budget includes $293,000 for a waterline improvement project labeled Show Low Bluff Well Development to develop the test well for use. The scope of the work of the project includes constructing approximately 700 linear feet of new 8-inch water line from the Show Low Bluff Well 17 to a 10-inch transition main in East Bluff Ridge Road. The 10-inch transmission main currently carries well water from well 13 down the road to the well Show Low Bluff Tank 13. This transmission main will also convey well 17 well water to the Bluff Tank 13. Project also includes installing a new 40 horsepower submersible well to provide a redundant water production source for Tank 13. The project will be completed in two phases. The first phase will include the installation of an 8-inch water main. The second phase will include the installation of the well and will be procured through our current well job order contract in the future. City engineering staff designed phase 1 of the project with a construction estimate of $161,000. Following bids were received. Navapache Construction at $181,971.29, and Apache Underground and Excavating at $217,800. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Show Low Bluff Well 17 Water Improvements City of Show Low Project R2723 to Navapache Construction in the amount not to exceed at $181,791.29. The maps and the bid tab are attached and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hemesath. Are there any questions for staff?
Yeah.
Will this take care of the future development? Will this plan cover that?
Show Low Bluff, as it continually develops and expands up there, will be responsible for providing additional production outside of just what this one well is going to produce. We're hoping this well can get us about 300 gallons per minute. Per their development agreement, there's far more than that they're going to be required to do. Our goal is just to get a redundant source of water up there to help that one tank up there be filled if the other one goes down, versus pumping around a different way in the system.
Any further questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
Councilman Hatch, I move to award the construction contract for the Show Low Bluff Well number 17 Waterline Improvements, City of Show Low project number R2723 to Navapache Construction in an amount not to exceed $181,971.29.
Do we have a second?
I am seconding the motion for Councilman Alsop.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. The next item under new business is consideration of award of contract for Headworks Building, City of Charlotte project number FM 1324. Mr. Kopp.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and guests. The existing Headworks building at the city's wastewater treatment plant was constructed in 1986. This building houses the course screens for the effluent entry point of the wastewater treatment plant. Recently, some ceiling material began falling off of the underlying structural steel. This revealed the structure was in a high state of deterioration. The caustic environment in the building caused the structure to become unsafe to use. As a temporary measure, the walls and roof of the building were shored up with a wood structure. Staff budgeted funds in the 23-24 budget to reconstruct this building. The scope of the project included the removal of the existing steel building and the construction of a new building over the remaining foundation. The construction is complicated because it must be completed while the equipment remains in place and continuously operates. In order to protect the new steel structure from the caustic environment, galvanized steel will be used, and the structure will also be coated with a high-density polyethylene sprayed foam. Staff advertised the project for bid per statutory requirements. 2 bids were received. The results are as follows. LD&B LLC bid $267,853.92. Point Companies bid $374,400. Staff recommends approving the construction of the contract to LD&B LLC Construction for the reconstruction of the Headworks Building, City of Show project number FM 1324 in amount not to exceed $267,853.92, and also the associated budget transfers. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kopp. Are there any questions for staff? Do we have a motion?
For Councilman Clark, I move to approve the construction contract to LD&B LLC for the reconstruction of the Headworks Building, City of Sholo, project FM 1324, in an amount not to exceed $267,853.92, and associated budget transfers.
Do we have a second?
I am seconding the motion for Councilman Adams.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. The next item under new business is consideration of award of contract for construction of 8 pickleball courts and associated improvements. Mr. Kopp.
Thank you. In 2019, the city built 4 pickleball courts and made improvements to other recreational facilities within the City of Sholo city campus. As the popularity of pickleball has increased in recent years, the need for additional courts to accommodate player demand has become apparent. At its regular meeting on January 17th, 2023, the City Council approved resolutions authorizing the city to accept a total of $572,000 in grant funding from the Arizona State Parks Land and Water Conservation Fund and Arizona State Parks Heritage Fund to construct 8 pickleball courts and associated improvements. The grant funds became available in September 2023. The City Council also approved up to $394,100 in matching funds. The 23-24 budget included $864,100 for this project. And that's the total of the grant funds and the city budgeted funds. The improvements will include site work, sidewalks, ramadas, drainage, fencing and windscreens, post-tension concrete slab, court surfacing and striping, light bases and conduit for future court lighting and seating. Staff has used a cooperative purchasing agreement, Sourcewell, for the procurement of the project. The cooperative purchasing program allows participating public agencies to take advantage of competitive bids for construction services. Hellas Construction is a pre-selected contractor that participates in this program. Engineering staff provided plans for the facility, and Hellas Construction prepared a project scope and associated fees from these drawings. The total cost of the improvements is $855,180. Staff recommends approving the construction contract to Hellas Construction for the construction of 8 pickleball courts and associated improvements in an amount not to exceed $855,180.
And
Thank you,
I'm here
Mr.
for
Kopp. Are there
questions.
any questions for staff?
Working a little bit about that, and I didn't get a response back to the meeting, so I apologize. But the way I was reading it is $572,000 in the grant thing in state park station. Then also I see where grant fund became available in September 2023. The city council approved for $394,000. And then the matching funds and then 2023-24 budget, including $864,100. If you add the first two up, that's $966,000. And then you add the other 800, that's like 1.7 million. Is that just an error on what we're looking at, or am I reading it totally wrong?
No, I think the key phrase here is the city council also approved up to $394,000. We didn't have to have that much in the matching to make the project go.
So we only increased it just a little bit.
Right, so we didn't budget the entire $394,100.
So that's okay. Thank you very much.
Any further?
I have a quick question.
Oh, sorry.
So I was working about this earlier this week. So they were talking about doing that's going to be a separate.
Yeah, that would be a separate project because the grant funding agencies would not fund the restroom. So we have budgeted funds that for another restroom in town. I think we are going to re-budget for that restroom and get this project completed with the restroom. So we'll probably bid the restroom in the spring. The contractor for the pickleball courts wants to start next month, and they want to try to wrap it up by the end of the year. They might not be able to do their surfacing because of weather, but they really want to move forward quickly on this. So they'll be done and out of the way, and then we'll do the restroom probably in the spring.
Any further questions? All right. Do we have a motion?
Councilman Alsop, I move to approve the construction contract with Hellas Construction for the construction of 8 pickleball courts and associated improvements in an amount not to exceed $855,180.
Do we have a second?
I'm seconding the motion for Councilman Hatch.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. The next item under new business is consideration of sisterhood agreement between the City of Imaris, Sonora, Mexico, and the City of Xolo. Ms. Atencio.
Thank you, Council, staff, guests. In early 2023, city staff was contacted by the staff of the Consul General of Mexico, Jorge Mendoza Yescas, about entering a sister cities agreement with the city of Mexico. The sister city would be similar in size and economic goals. The city of Hemesath of the state of Sonora of the United Mexican States was identified. Hemesath has approximately 11,000 inhabitants. Hemesath, which I may be saying wrong, sits on the hill that is at a junction between highways from Cananea to the east and Nogales to the north. Agriculture, cattle raising, and industry are the main economic activities of that area. Hemesath is about 5.5 hours from Xolo. Many residents of Sonora spend time in the winter in Xolo and in the White Mountains. The city of Xolo and Hemesath have expressed a mutual interest in strengthening ties and friendships and working cooperatively on commercial and social projects. The sisterhood agreement allows for the sharing of knowledge and approaches in business, education, culture, and technology. The agreement sets forth objectives in business, culture, tourism, government development, and education, which are encouraged but are not required. This sisterhood agreement holds opportunities that would benefit both cities.
Thank you, Ms. Atencio. Are there any questions for staff? All right. Do we have a motion?
Councilman Adams, I move to enter into the sisterhood agreement with the City of Imaris, Sonora, Mexico, and authorize the mayor to sign said agreement.
Is there a second?
I'm seconding the motion for Councilman Judd.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? The motion passes 6-0. Our next agenda item is a summary of current events. Do any council members have anything to report?
I'd just like to thank all involved. I think this is a great program, and I like that we do this in the city of Shola with students, and I'm just happy making this happen. Excited that we can hopefully keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Also, Rolo's varsity girls are up. Blue Ridge undefeated so far for varsity girls.
Do you know how much time is left?
It's almost over.
We'll talk.
Multitasking.
I have a short story to tell, but also I have a privilege and an honor tonight to introduce the newest police officer that we have in the city of Shola. That is Officer Fragoso. Can you come forward, sir? I'm gonna give you a little bio on Officer Fragoso. He was born in Tucson, Arizona, and moved to Shola when he was about 6 years old. Shola is where he grew up, was raised, where he calls home. Officer Fragoso attended Shola High School, graduated 2018. During this time at Shola High School, Officer Fragoso was employed by the city as a lifeguard at the Aquatic Center. Officer Fragoso says that working with the city gave him a sense of responsibility, leadership, and was worked his way to be a head lifeguard and supervise his peers. While attending Shola High School, Officer Fragoso was also a student council member like the young men and women that's up here today. Officer Fragoso was fortunate enough to have the same opportunity to attend Government Day just like them. Government Day really lets these students and young members of the community get a sense of City Hall, of Shola City operations, and attend many different jobs with the city employees, from the Aquatic Center to Public Works and many more. Government Day gives students a chance to ask questions and have hands-on. These young men and women can see how leaders in the community work and be able one day encourage them to do the same. Whether to be a council member or even a police officer, after the day of work was over, Officer Fragoso was able to sit in his room and attend the city council meetings and present it next to Councilwoman Alsop. Public speaking is something a lot of people struggle with, like today. These students have the ability to speak to a crowd, build skills, and to become better leaders. After graduating from high school, Officer Fragoso enlisted into the Marine Corps and was a military police officer. In the summer of 2018, Officer Fragoso shipped out to boot camp and graduated from San Diego Recruit Department. Officer Fragoso served in the Marines for 4 years and was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. During the time, Officer Fragoso believes he earned these positions by simply putting into practice what he earned at a young age. Of course, he gives credit to his parents who did a great job raising him, but also the city who was able to give students like him the opportunity to learn and to lead. After his 4 years of military he decided to move back and come back home to the city of Shola. And I have the opportunity, as he is an officer now. Officer Fragoso moved back in the summer of 2022 and immediately put in for an application to become a police officer for Shola Police Department. Back in July, Officer Fragoso graduated from the police academy and has been lucky enough to serve his community. Officer Fragoso helps that Government Day continues and inspires students to become leaders in their community. This just ties everything together. We started this program. I took it to Mayor at the time, Mayor Fernald and Ed Mutter, city manager, and presented this to them. And we got the okay for some of these council members were on it at that time, and some new council members. We started this program on March 20th of 2012. So it's been almost 11 and a half years that we've had kids come up here and be involved in the city council. And there's probably a lot more people out there or kids out there as done, just like Officer Fregoso done, that I have no idea or know the council has no idea. But being involved in what we just did here is something that brings a turnaround saying that, yeah, we did something right, or we did something and the kids got through, especially to Officer Fregoso. So if you have anything to say, please say it. Let them know how you feel.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. For you guys that don't know me, my name is Officer Fregoso. Graduated from Shoal High School, and I had the opportunity to sit here with you guys, just how you guys are today. I really believe that this program gives you the opportunity to lead and learn how the city really works. And all I want to say is congratulations to you guys, and hopefully you guys will come back one day just like I did and become leaders in this community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that a council member would like to report? Okay, we will now turn the time to Mayor Leach for his report.
Welcome home. Thank you. Appreciate it. When I shook your hand earlier, I almost thought you were one of the students. It just seems like I'm definitely getting older, but they seem to be getting younger. Thank you all again. We appreciate you guys coming each year. And I know a couple of you were here last year, but it is a great program. And thank you, man, Councilman Alsap and Rick Furneaux back then for bringing this to us, because it is fun. It's nice they get to shadow staff all day, and also thank the staff for taking time out of their day and doing it. The fire department, I know, was involved this year. PD's always been involved. I'm not sure if the fire department's involved every year, but I'm glad there was a lot of kids that wanted to go over there. I kind of cornered them today and said, hey, you can become a fireman, so, because I was one. So anyway, thank you guys again. We really do appreciate you coming, and like the officer said, maybe one of you will stand in front of us here in a few years in a uniform. Maybe a fire uniform, you never know. But anyway, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor Leach.
No, I do not have weak bones.
I will now give a report for Shello High School. So this time of year has always been extremely busy for Shello High School, but student council has been really productive in getting a lot done this year. This was actually the first year we gave seniors the opportunity to paint their own parking spots. That was really cool. We're in the process of repainting the student section, and we're looking into fundraising so we can paint the interior of the school. We're looking forward to homecoming week. Our homecoming game is on October 20th at 7 against Blue Ridge. Our girls soccer team is on fire this year. They're currently ranked #1 in the state, and they're just finishing up with a big game against Blue Ridge right now. And it's 6-1 still, is it? Yeah. 6-3, my bad. And then this Friday, they have another really big home game against Northland Prep at 6. Our boys soccer team is playing in Snowflake tomorrow at 6. Our girls volleyball team has a home game this Thursday against Holbrook at 6:30. Our football boys play this Friday in Round Valley at 7. And I think that covers everything. And we also just want to thank you. I just want to thank you guys on behalf of Student Council for giving us the opportunity to have this experience. It's not something that most people our age get to experience, and we're all just super thankful for it, for the growth that it provided for us. And yeah, I think that's it. Go Cougars. City Manager, Mr. Brown, will now give his report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and students. It's been fun today to be with the students and be with them throughout the day, and I hope they had a good experience, and we hope to continue this program for a long time to come. I just wanted to highlight that a couple Fridays ago, Mr. Alsop, the mayor, myself, Justin Johnson, and I believe Bill Cupp and Rick Austin went to the Arizona Game and Fish, their quarterly meeting, and it was held in Greer, Arizona. And at that meeting, the Arizona Game and Fish Department gave a certificate of appreciation for the partnership with the city of Show Low. And they highlighted a lot of the activities that we've done to improve fishing in Show Low, Arizona. So some of you may be aware of the meadow, where we have put in a restroom and pavilion and ADA accessible trail. fishing piers and access points along the meadow, and that is stocked with fish. If you ever like to fish, you can go down to Shoal Creek. But we've also done a lot of improvements in Shoal Lake, where they did a lot of improvements to the campground. We've also done some improvements along with the Game and Fish to build what they call fishing habitat structures in the lake. And our Public Works Department helped them put these structures together and put them in the lake where it allows fish to habitat there and to survive during the winter time and to have a good fishing experience. And then one of the things that we just recently did is we're doing an ADA ramp there at Shoal Lake, so people that are ADA need ADA access can get down to the lake. So they really appreciate all the work that we did and in making fishing accessible in Shoal. And so they really like to thank Bill Cupp, Rick Austin, and Jay Brimhell for all their work on that partnership. And the department said they also wanted to recognize that without the support of the city council, that these projects would not be a reality. So just wanted to highlight that. Just a couple quick projects that are going on in the city to be aware of. We're going to start work in the Fools Hollow area on their Waterline Phase 1 project. And we are also working on that Shoal ADA access ramp right now. That should be pouring some concrete there shortly. For those that are interested on East Owens, that extension, they're getting ready to pave the rest of that from the community center on 11th Street this week, and then that road should be opened up shortly. And then we're also doing some work on Nicholas and McNeil Acres subdivision. And you might have noticed that ADOT is finally getting ready to finish up their project on Deuce of Clubs. They're just finishing some few minor repairs and should be done by October 1st. So appreciate everyone's patience as we make these improvements around the city. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to the scheduling of meetings. Are there any meetings to be mentioned at this time? Okay, seeing no further.
There.
Oh, sorry.
So just to make council aware, on October 3rd, Justin Johnson and I are going to be attending a city managers conference that week. We're looking to maybe cancel that meeting. We haven't had anything real critical come up so far. So we'll let you know, but we'll probably cancel that meeting. And so our next meeting will be on October 17th. If you have any questions, you can get with me afterward.
Is that it? All right, seeing no further business, I adjourn this meeting.
Yay, good job.